I'm about to go live with Dr. Lori Marvis and the one and only Brittany Giroudi from the Giroudi family. We are going to be talking about how to get iron and calcium on a plant-based diet today. And we are so excited because we are all part of the Vegan Health Bundle that is only available for about 48 more hours. So stick around for this fun chat. Foods. While Dr. Lori gives us some nutrition tips and Brittany comes on and we'll talk all the fun stuff about the Vegan Health Bundle. But Lori, yeah, let's see. I got you in, but it's not working. Sometimes it just takes a moment to connect. Let me see. I'm gonna cancel that and invite you back. Lori, I just invited you, so maybe you can hop on that way. And then hopefully Brittany joins in and I'll get you guys on the tripod and we can start chatting. But we're part of the Vegan Health Bundle. It is an amazing collaboration of doctors and fitness professionals and health enthusiasts and so even organizational gurus and ways to help you up-level your health. And it is an $8,000 value for only $49, but it's only available until Sunday, March 10th. So Lori, I just accepted you one more time. It says Lori is unable to join. I do not know what is going on. We might have to restart the video unless it will pick up in just a second. But that was bizarre why it said it was you were unable to join. I just invited you again, Lori. Hopefully it works this time. And yeah, there you are. Hello.
Hi.
I'm sorry for those troubles. I'm not sure what happened there.
It's okay. Brittany, unfortunately, had a family situation, is unable to attend, but you got
Oh, okay. Oh, yay. Well, hey, let's talk about iron and calcium. I'm gonna put you on my little tripod here. Kitchen's a little bit of a mess, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And thanks for coming on. I love knowing plant-based doctors. It's just so awesome. And the plant-based doctor movement is growing and it's just so awesome because I think that it just really helps people realize the efficacy of the science behind eating whole food plant-based and how it doesn't have to be scary and how we can get all of our nutrients that we need through plants. So thanks again, Lori, for joining me on like probably a busy work day. I'm gonna straighten my camera here real quick. Little crooked. But yeah. So you and I are in the Vegan Health Bundle together.
Yes.
With what? Over 100 other doctors and fitness professionals and wellness enthusiasts and recipe creators and chefs and more. And there's tons and tons of resources in this cool bundle that Chef AJ and Lissa put together from Raw Food Romance. And we get to share this amazing collaboration of like $8,000 worth of content for only $49. So I'm assuming that that's linked in your bio, right, Lori?
It's in the bio. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
100%. So it's a lot of fun. I've been in her bundle before, but this is the first time that Brittany and I had collaborated together to create a unique product that honestly came from questions that I get constantly from patients is what labs should I get? What do they mean? And having been a physician for well over 20 years, 12 of those with a plant-based slant, I definitely have at least the experiences to at least direct where to direct people. So that's been a lot of fun to create that resource for folks.
So cool. I looked at your guys' resource and like, Laura, you really map it out. Like, hey, if this is what if this is what your labs say, like this is what's in range and this is how to read your labs. If maybe your doctor doesn't really know like that well, which I think is so beneficial because a lot of people, well, first off, I think that people should get labs drawn. Like, what do you suggest when it comes to people, regardless if they're eating plant-based or not? Like, how important do you think it is for us to get our nutritional labs? Do you think that we need to feel bad to get our labs, or do you think it's like a good idea to check levels every now and then?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely warranted. We live in a world, one, that we are eating a lot of processed foods, standard American diet. I mean, a big percentage of the population is pre-diabetic or diabetic, up to a third of Americans. That means that if you see, 100 people walking across the street, they probably literally one in three of them have pre-diabetes or diabetes. Majority don't even know it. And, when you're talking about chronic disease, hypertension, right? That's another one that's kind of silent until, you have heart failure or you have a stroke or something else, increases risk for heart disease. So that's just a biometric to measure. But again, these are things that you shouldn't be ignorant of. And even if you are eating a whole food plant-based diet, it's really interesting because I have people who have come to me who've been eating this way for many years, and they're having, some issues. Sometimes it takes a little tweaking. Sometimes it takes some re-education on eating a variety of whole plant foods is very important.
Yeah.
Not being fat phobic, making sure that you are getting enough protein, because some people who are very restrictive will not get enough protein. I've absolutely seen that.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be reflected in your labs. It can be reflected in how you're feeling, your energy, hair loss, different things. So again, lots of different things to consider. So if you're symptomatic, 100% you should be getting labs. Even if you're not, at least checking them once a year, every other year is smart. And, it's just, again, there's no need to be ignorant. And there's no, I like to tell people, let's pull our heads out of the clouds and get back on earth. The plant-based diet is not a panacea, right? It's not going to
Right,
cure everything, but
right.
absolutely decrease your risk. And so, again, I think there's some individuals who like, this is my dogma, I only eat a plant-based diet and I only eat this way, or I don't do this because this one doctor said that. And I don't disagree that, certainly being salt, oil, sugar free is absolutely fine. There's not a problem with that.
Yeah,
But then let's look at iodine, for example. So
right.
most of our iodine in the United States is from iodized salt, right? So now if you cut out salt, which many cases you should, where are you getting your iodine? And then
Yeah.
people go, well, I asked my doctor to check my iodine. They order blood work. Well, the blood work, the problem is you don't get this accurate iodine level based on just blood. You need to collect your urine for 24 hours to get a really good comprehensive understanding of how much iodine is in your system, because the body is very, very good at tightly regulating levels: iron, magnesium, potassium, iodine, for example. So if you just randomly check things, sometimes they can show that they're okay. It's a false sense of security. So again, that's what I highlight in that ebook, is to help people understand. And then looking at, for example, someone who's very healthy on a plant-based diet, their white blood cells might be lower than, let's say, 2.5. It's like hitting around 2.5. So it's less than the 4 that would be considered normal low range, but they're just so low inflammation that their white cells are a little bit lower. Now,
Wow.
if there's other things occurring or other markers indicate that there could be a problem with the white blood cell count being low, that's a different discussion, right? And so
Right.
again, it's just understanding, and some labs really can be low and be okay. Others should be looked at a little bit closer. And, the thing that I really wanted to highlight for people is that understanding that I don't want someone's doctor to say, hey, just eat more meat. You'll get more iron that way. Well,
Right, 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 right. And it's packaged with a lot of other nutrients that might
yeah,
not be the best.
exactly. So you can absolutely eat a wide variety of whole plant foods, including nuts and seeds, right? So many people are like, oh, nuts and seeds, I've been told I shouldn't consume at all. So nuts and
Oh
seeds
yeah,
are
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
helpful, right? They're heart protective. They've shown in studies to be actually heart health promoting. They're good for your brain. So great source of protein. Now, should we overconsume them? No. How much
Right.
should you be consuming? Maybe a quarter cup or so for women a day, maybe half a cup upwards for men. And so it's just, again, some people become so stuck in a dogma of like being so restrictive that now we're creating gaps in their nutrition that don't need to be there, and labs can't highlight that and from a very objective viewpoint, which allows people to make educated decisions on what they should be doing, right? Again,
Right.
I've been eating plant-based for 12 years. I raised my family that way. But you 100% doesn't mean you put your head in the sand and pretend that there couldn't be something going on.
Yeah, I love that. And that's so good. And you know what's really interesting right now? I'm doing a challenge with some people. I'm doing raw for Lent is what we're saying. We're doing raw for Lent. And I know that Brenda Davis, the amazing dietitian, she has this book that she wrote a long time ago. Actually, I think it's like called Becoming Raw. And no matter if you're eating raw, no matter if you're eating whole food plant-based, SOS free, high starch, high whatever, like the underlying factor, like you said at the beginning of this, Lori, is like that we're making sure we're getting a variety.
Right.
It's so key. And I am such a creature of habit, and for sure have fallen into like years. Well, I will eat like the exact same thing for breakfast all the time. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, because I could get a wide variety in my lunch and dinner, right? Like that's not a problem. I don't think it's a problem. But like if people get stuck in like a habit where they're only eating the same like phytonutrients, the same plant nutrients, like day in, day out, and they're not expanding and getting that variety, I think that, like you said, like that's where the problems can come. So
Right.
like with the raw thing, for instance, I'm doing like, this is the recipe from the book. It's from there's a lot of chickpea burgers, actually. There's several chickpea burgers and like falafel burgers in the bundle, because there's like 2,000 plant-based recipes in the bundle. It's amazing. So you have a lot to choose from. But actually, I am eating chickpeas that I have soaked and sprouted,
Right.
and they are so good. And here's just a fun tip: if you have never tried sprouted chickpeas, I mean, they're a little crunchy. They're a little different, right? Like people would be like, "What? You're eating chickpeas raw?" Yeah, well, you let the little sprout come out, like it's actually, alive and living. And then actually you can freeze them after you sprout them, and it softens them up and it makes them like super tender and chewy and delicious. So I'm making chickpea burgers out of that. And we're talking about iron and calcium today. So what do you think about chickpeas
Yeah.
for a source?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So you could sprout lentils. I did the entire month of January raw because my son challenged me to that. And so I
Oh my
made
gosh, I
raw
love it.
sprouted chickpea hummus.
Yes.
Like, it was delicious.
Oh my gosh, I love
Right.
that. I
I
love
would
that.
have never thought to do that. I found it made me also look for other products. So there's these raw wraps that were absolutely delicious.
Okay. Are they the ones from Amazon, or are they the ones that you've been making from Lissa?
No, it's called WRAWP.com wrap. Like it's made from raw ingredients. They're delicious and easy. They have pizza as well. It's all raw.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Are these SOS free?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
no. Well,
Yes.
hold on. Stand by.
Do you want me to go grab one?
Oh, no, I don't have that one actually. I've been buying, because I love the ones from Lissa. I don't know if you have like a square
No.
dehydrator where you can make them. I mean, hers are so good, and they're actually a lot more calorically dense than the ones that I've been buying. Or yeah, the ones that I've been buying, because they have the chia and the flax in there. And I want to talk about the ingredients that are in the ones you found. But I found ones that are pre-made, and I've been eating a package of them a day, because they're so low in calories, and I'm like, okay, these are really good. They
They
have
might be on
psyllium content.
Amazon. I don't know, but it's WRAWP.
Okay, well,
Wrap.
the one that I found, the brand is rawwraps.com, but you can
Okay.
get them on Amazon, and the four ingredients in them is spinach, psyllium husk, apple, and onion. And they're delightful, and they're so yummy, and I've just been cheating with them instead of making my own. I mean, I'm making my own, and I'm buying those from Amazon. They're $12 for 5 of them, and I'm eating a whole package a day. It's like absolutely ridiculous. But I'm so glad you told me that there's SOS free ones from
Yeah.
this brand,
Yeah.
because
And
oh
they're
my
delicious.
God.
They've apparently been around for a long time. I've been trying to get the person that started it on the podcast. I've been unable to do that so far. But honestly, I don't have time. I
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. If
yeah.
you have time to dehydrate and make all the,
No,
I think this is
I stayed up
fabulous.
till like midnight last night making them. I don't have time. Let's be
I
real.
can't.
I really don't.
I can't do it. I can't.
No, yeah,
So
no time to.
I'm so joyful when people make these products and go through the trouble of building a company like Wellbeing. I love Wellbeing.
We,
Wellbeing
I
has some
spend so
delicious
much
stuff.
money with Wellbeing.
Oh
I
my
love
God.
them so much. They're
Oh, those,
amazing. Yeah.
they have those muggins that you put in. That's not raw, but
No,
you're
yeah,
cooking
yeah,
it. 90 second. I'm loving these like chocolate cake.
We're
Mm.
gonna make those. That's what Cohen said that he wants for his birthday. We're gonna do muggins. And I was like, totally. And we actually don't have a microwave, so they told me that we can just put them, like, we're just gonna figure it out. We're gonna put it in the oven. I'm sure it'll
Oh
work
yeah.
fine. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So
love that. So,
yeah.
well, okay, so what about calcium and iron? Like, where are these plant sources? And I'm just gonna kind of throw some ingredients in the food processor and just we can talk through it. So I have
Yeah.
garbanzo beans. What about calcium in those?
Yeah.
Is that a
So
good source for?
yeah, so there's going to be so many things, right? Calcium is in so many dark green leafies, your legumes, your uh, other vegetables. I love soy products. Soy is edamame if you want to do the raw component, right? So again, there's so many delicious calcium-rich foods. I think a great way to do this is to download Chronometer, for example.
Yeah.
And so many of us are creatures of habit that we are consuming the same foods regularly, but I do encourage people to get at least 2 soy servings daily for other reasons as well, right? So, um, excuse me, they're rich in calcium, protein, phytoestrogens, which decrease risk for breast cancer, recurrence of breast cancer. It's good for bone health. So many wonderful things. Helps with cholesterol. So there's amazing ways to get plenty of calcium. But if you download an app like Chronometer, put in what you're actually eating and make sure you're hitting at least 1,000 to 12 milligrams of calcium daily. And when I do that, I'm finding I'm hitting that calcium very, very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an important thing to keep a handle on, especially if you're raising children that way, to make sure that they're consuming. They tend to be a tad bit picky. So you might want to need to hide variety in a different ways, like, inside of things that maybe they wouldn't think are green, like a
Right.
smoothie, or stuffing them in something else. But yeah, lots of different ways to get your calcium. But it's a very important thing to pay attention to. Majority of people can do that very easily. Make sure your vitamin D levels are good. That's another thing that I mentioned in the ebook. And not just to assume just because you're outside in the sun that that's enough.
Right.
I was living in Florida at the time and a runner and outside without any sunscreen, and my levels still couldn't hit 30. So I do have to supplement, and I'm light skinned, obviously.
Yeah.
So be at a lower risk than someone who has more melanin, which will decrease your conversion, your vitamin D in your skin. So again, really important things to pay attention to.
Yeah. And I'm so thankful that I went to, it was in 2018, and I've been plant-based for 15 years. And I've been following lots of different doctors and interviewed lots of different doctors and stuff like that. I didn't start my podcast till like 2020, so, or maybe it was 2021. So I didn't really get as big of a range of education up until then. I really went plant-based. Like I read Alicia Silverstone's book called The Kind Diet, and that was like my first like exposure. And she did like a lot of macrobiotic stuff, and she was like raw. And anyway, I have a lot of resources, but I didn't really know, like, was I getting the nutrients? I never really was concerned about it. I knew that I should be taking a B12 like 5 years into it. I was like, oh, okay, B12. But I was also eating nutritional yeast that was fortified, so I was good there. I mean, every time I've gotten my levels checked, because I do have like hypothyroidism, so I do get like full metabolic panels. All of my nutrients are good, and I don't necessarily always have to supplement. Now we know that there's brands out there like Complement that could be really beneficial for plant-based eaters if they need to supplement or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I went to the PCRM conference. I went to the Dr. Barnard's in 2018. That was when I got inspired to become a Food for Life instructor after that. But there were so many people talking about soy, and I had not been eating soy. Not on purpose, at least. I would eat edamame if we went out to like a sushi restaurant. But I also did think that soy was probably not a good idea. And I was definitely kind of brainwashed to think that it wasn't. And then everybody was talking about soy, and I had just had our son, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, they were talking about sending their kids to school with soy, with tofu and stuff. And I was like, that scares me. I was like, that's a processed food, first off. And then, I was in that like mindset, and here's Cohen's bowl. He eats a block of tofu a day. Like, I mean, literally, he just gets it out of the refrigerator and just eats it straight up. I'm not
It's already
joking.
cooked,
Like,
so
it's
it's okay.
already cooked. It's already cooked. So he just eats it. But today he mixed it with like with some apple cider vinegar and garlic and paprika and parsley, and he's just obsessed with it. But yeah, I'm glad that I found that. And that information and how it can be potentially cancer protective, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought the soy up. And yeah, we can get so many different nutrients and lots of different foods if we're combining different flavors, combining different phytonutrients. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about iron, Lori?
Yeah.
When it comes to a plant-based eater, do you think it's not an easy thing to get enough iron as a plant-based eater, or do you think it's easy?
I think you
Do you
can.
think?
Again,
Mhm.
I think this is just paying attention. It's the chronometer is a very helpful tool to make sure
Yeah.
you're getting enough. So if you're a female, you're going to need around 18 milligrams per day, and if you're still menstruating. Now, if you're postmenopausal in the midlife, like I am, you only need 8. But the interesting thing about iron, there's non-heme iron, which is typically plant foods, and you have your heme iron in your animal products. That's a more readily absorbable form.
Mhm.
But if you can take some vitamin C, again, if you're looking at a variety of foods and you mix it with, like, for example, those chickpeas that have a great source of iron, throw in some like citrus, strawberries, bell peppers, or something like that with those, you'll make that iron more absorbable, right? That
Yeah.
non-heme iron. So
Yeah, I
you'll
was going to ask
readily
you. Yeah.
evaluate. Yeah, exactly. So again, you can absolutely, tofu's another one, spinach, pumpkin seeds. But again, that's, I think, another thing to highlight. So many of these minerals come in seeds and nuts, and there's been like a fat phobia thing going on. I have so many patients like, don't you think that's too much fat if I eat nuts and seeds? I don't eat nuts and seeds. I'm like, oh, yeah. And so
Yeah.
again, it just gets to, they've been, I don't know where they get their information, a variety of people, and they pick up stuff. They feel one person saying one thing, that's the way it always needs to be. Maybe they were making a claim when I don't know, the science didn't allow for them to make appropriate claims. I don't know, but all I do know,
Right.
the science does show that nuts and seeds are very healthy for you. They're not harmful, so don't be fat phobic. I will tell you my own anecdotal story. When I went to a plant-based diet, I did a very low fat plant-based diet, SOS free. I'm still oil free as well, and don't do added sugars as well. The only sugar I have in my refrigerator is when I make my hummingbird juice every few
Oh,
days.
same here. That's the only reason why I have sugar in my house.
Literally it.
I'm over here
Um,
crying. Sorry, I'm over here crying because I cut green onions from our farm, and like I have never cried from green onions in my life, but I'm literally like sobbing over here. That was really strong. Oh my God.
yeah,
Okay. I'm so sorry.
yeah,
Okay, but anyway, yes. So you started that way,
yeah. So
and it
basically,
was
and I didn't feel well. Kind of got down, which is unusual for me, and started, thinking about and doing some research and added more healthy fats, and then I felt good again. So, it's really, really important that we understand that, again, that variety and color and across the board in different categories. Your legumes, your whole grains, your veggies, your fruits, and nuts and seeds. You just need to eat colors. And if you eat locally and in season, you're going to naturally already kind of move around and doing different varieties throughout the year. And it doesn't have to be a variety every single day or even every week necessarily, but you do need to eat across the categories, I would say, every day and through the week. But just really important that you're consuming variety of food, please.
yeah, yeah. And so the bundle has
Yeah.
tons of recipes that you're gonna just get inspired by. So if anybody is listening to this and they're like, I don't necessarily want to go fully plant-based or anything like that, but I do want to eat more plants, or maybe they do want to go fully plant-based, just rest assured that you're going to get the information that you need. Thanks to Dr. Lori Marvis's and Brittany Girudi's contribution, where you're going to get a ton of different recipes, but also kind of learn about how to take care of yourself when you're eating a plant-based diet and beyond.
Right.
And there's just so many different flavors and ethnicities in the bundle that it's just going to be really hard to not get all those nutrients, especially if you're eating from the whole grain category, beans, nuts and seeds, fruits and vegetables on a daily basis, like Lori said. And I love that. So I thought, just to inspire people, I said that we're doing this chickpea burger recipe. And when I was looking, by the way, this is a side note. when I was looking at different nutrients, I can't remember if it was calcium or iron this morning. Maybe you know. Sun-dried tomatoes was actually an interestingly high one on one of those nutrients. Now, I'm not going to say which one it
Um,
was for sure because I
that's
can't remember. I think it was calcium, actually.
I don't know. I do have some packages of some oil-free sun-dried tomatoes, but
Yeah.
I haven't paid attention to what's in those. But you have, lycopene, which is great from tomatoes.
Right.
Again, very important antioxidant. So again, you throwing in tomatoes, you get some all sorts of good stuff. So
Absolutely.
lots of good ways to
Absolutely.
do it. Yeah, but if you're looking at calcium, kale, broccoli, figs, almonds, great sources.
Yeah, I love that. So we have the chickpea burger. So if people want to get a nice calcium load from recipes, look in the bundle. Once you get the bundle, do some of the falafel recipes or do chickpea burger recipes, or just, of course, the roasted chickpeas, put them on salads. And then also, I thought it would be cool to inspire people. I'm not going to go across my whole island right now, but where my huge container of greens is, but something so simple to get iron and calcium in. This is hilarious. Like, fill your whole bowl. Okay, fill this whole, pretend like my whole bowl is filled of greens, and then take some sesame seeds,
Mhm.
throw them in there, and then take some cheater lemon juice. Where's my cheater lemon juice? There's a bottle of it somewhere around here. You know, the bottle that you get at the grocery store that's already, oh, here it is. I just get the organic Santa Cruz. Now, ideally, you use fresh just because it's fresh, but take some lemon juice because that's going to help you absorb the iron,
Mhm.
right? The citrus in there. Again, we're pretending like my whole bowl is full of greens. You just take your clean hands, you massage it all together, and you've got like a really simple salad. Of course, you could add tomatoes and more things, but like it's as simple as that to get a good dose.
Yeah,
Imagining again, the whole bowl is full of greens
right.
to get a good dose of calcium and iron from plants. Like it doesn't have to be rocket science. I think that a lot of people, including myself, like I have gone through phases where I get just really caught up in like, oh my gosh, am I getting enough this or that? But like
Mhm.
we have, is it kind of like pools of,
Yeah,
you know how we have like pools of amino acids? Like,
right, right.
does our body do that with
Yeah,
other nutrients? Like, you
to a
know?
degree. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It really depends on what you're looking at.
Yeah.
But and also if you're working in a deficit or not, right? So
Mhm.
someone, let's say, has an iron deficit,
Right.
what they're eating may be just enough to keep them going, but you still may have symptoms, right?
Right.
The calcium, many times people don't even realize that they are walking around with osteopenia or osteoporosis till they're older, and then they start testing, but your bone bank really needs to be full by age 30, so hence we should be discussing osteoporosis prevention in our youth. um,
Mm.
so yeah, right, exactly, especially if you have other things that could be causing a calcium deposit issue. If you are have had a history of autoimmune disease and required high amounts of oral steroids and such, that could cause more issues with your bone health. If you've had a hyperthyroid state for any period of time, that as well could be an issue. So lots of other things that can, parathyroid hormone can be a problem. If you have undiagnosed celiac and you haven't been absorbing nutrients very well. So again, lots of things can be doing this. You could be taking medications that decrease absorption of B12, for example.
Yeah.
When you look at metformin, which is the most common, medication prescribed for diabetes, type 2 diabetes, that
Mhm.
decreases your B12 absorption. And if you're older, you already have a decreased absorption because of just the age. There's nothing, no judgment here. It's just the facts of the situation. So again, I think that's where labs are very, very helpful, and not being disappointed or upset if something comes back a little out of whack. You just do some tweaking. It'll be okay. And don't, feel bad or guilty that you might have been hurting yourself. You just, here are the facts of the situation, and this is what I need to do to correct it, and you move on. Yeah, I think some people get really wrapped up in the emotion of doing everything just right, and if this plant-based diet can't fill all my needs, then geez, what am I even doing? And like, there's this weird story people can. I will tell you, I have these conversations every single day,
Yeah.
and it is a fascinating. This is fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. So somebody asked, well, thank you for giving your insight there. super helpful. Somebody asked, can you repeat that app? I think maybe she's talking about chronometer.
Chronometer. Yeah. So actually, I think I can. I'll type it in the thing here.
Yeah, I definitely use chronometer, and I'm like, I just get all excited from the amount of protein that I get. I'm like, and I just got all of that from not only just whole food plant-based, but now that I've been doing the raw thing for like almost 2 months now, I'm like, I'm getting more protein on raw than it's probably just, I'm not eating copious amounts of nuts and seeds, but it's probably also this amount of greens that I'm eating. It's forcing me to get more greens in. So, and maybe somebody was was she asking about the app, or was she asking, tracking intake. Okay. And then also, Lori, if you could put in, just so people know, because I think wraps that are out on the market right now, even if people don't want to eat raw, I think that those raw wraps that you were talking about are probably going to be really beneficial tool for people. Because I do not think personally, and you might have some brands that you think are good, but I personally do not think that there are very many good options grain wise for wraps out there. They usually have things, just extra sodium. There's always something, maybe oil added, or maybe there's sugar, or I don't know, dough conditioners that aren't so good for people with sensitive guts. So those raw wraps, I think everybody should have raw wraps in their pantry.
Yeah, they're delicious, and they use a lot of turmeric, and so there might be a little bit more spicy side, but we find this over here. So
that's awesome. Well, we appreciate your insight and your wisdom. And if anybody is inspired and wants to get more plants on their plate and get 2,000 whole food plant-based recipes that are oil-free, you should definitely get the bundle. Go to the link in either of our bios and grab it before it's gone forever on March 10th, which is just in 2 days from today. So have you made anything? I know you're really busy, but you probably haven't made any recipes from the bundle.
No. Brittany and I, Brittany gave amazing recipes in our ebook, and they were based on really fulfilling kind of those nutrients of concern, like zinc and iodine and their calcium, iron. So, I cook a lot of the things that she does, and we do our healing kitchen every week. And so I'm cooking a lot of stuff that she makes. So I'm on a regular basis. She's upping my cooking game.
She's always recipe creating. That's what she's doing now. So it's so good. So you guys make a power team. So if anybody is not following Dr. Lori Marbas yet, make sure you do. You guys can get plugged into Brittany Giroudi. I've had her on my podcast, into her community and into Lori and Brittany's classes that they have every Wednesday, so that you can get advice from the doc, and then you can also get advice from the foodie guru, and it's like a match made in heaven. So Lori, thank you.
Thank you. And I just would highlight too, we also have 2 experts workshops every single month. I do one, like, for example, I did one osteoporosis. I've done one on insulin resistance, psychology of weight loss. Then we have guests come. So we've had Dr. Clapper, Dr. Kahn, we have Rip Esselstyn coming. We've had Aaron Stancic this latest one. So lots of Brenda Davis has been there. So lots of fun stuff. So again, yes, thank you for having me and being part of this as well. Check out the vegan bundle, guys.
Yeah, go get the vegan bundle. Do not miss it. It's awesome. So, Lori, thanks again. And everybody, go get your nutrients in. Go get your plant nutrients in if you want to feel good this weekend. All right. Be well. Take care.